All right, all right. Hopefully I'm in here. I'm gonna log in. Sorry if you see that I'm looking at a few things. I'm just getting set up. So one moment. 1 second here. There we go. All right. So if you guys see me looking this way, it's just I'm gonna kind of help monitor what's going on. If there's any questions, comments, I'll be looking to my other screen. So I apologize if it looks like I'm looking down or over. It's for that reason. So um, definitely very excited tonight, everyone, going through the Credilife guide to student loan repayment options. Tonight's going to be a little bit different. I actually went through and created a PowerPoint presentation that we're going to go through here today just to provide you guys with a lot of education surrounding the federal student loan repayment options and what everything means. You know, I wanted to add more visuals to make it a lot easier to understand student loan repayment and all that. So I'm just going to be looking off to the side here. Just want to see if you guys can let me know if you hear me. Would love to find out here. So I'm just looking at the other screen. So let's see. We get some comments here. One moment. If you guys can hear me, let me know. Just waiting. 1 second here. I'm not quite sure. Maybe I'll look at my phone just to see if it's synced up. 1 second. You can hear me? Chat. All right. Just waiting on a few things here, guys. 1 second. We'll let some people jump in too. I'm jumping in right now. Just making sure I can at least monitor questions in the chat as well. So 1 second here. Just hopping in. Perfect, perfect. Okay, awesome. Yeah, it looks like we got some comments already. Perfect. I'm gonna use my cell phone. I think for some reason the other thing wasn't working to help monitor. Oh, everyone, thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sorry about that. It's I was for some reason on my other side when I opened up the chat function, it wasn't showing me. So, all right, guys. Once again, thank you guys so much for joining me tonight for the Facebook Live that we do every week on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central. Tonight, I really, really wanted to address student loan repayment options just because it's a hot topic. A ton of people in this group have student loans and are struggling with understanding their best repayment options. I also want to announce, I do believe Tyler's on here. I brought him up a couple videos ago, but I wanted to do it again. Tyler, as of this week, has fully taken over our student loan division and his team. So I am very excited to announce that because a lot of times I was jumping in and helping people. And, you know, with my schedule, I'm out of the office a lot because I'm the CEO of Credilife. I love working with people. I love helping people. I'll be always working with our clients, but it's so nice to have someone dedicated now along with the team that can really help our clients navigate through student loan repayment options and help them get to their goals. You know, a lot of times when our coaches are going through consultations or working with our clients, student loans is something that I'd say about 80% of all our clients have student loans. And it's a lot of times something that they're struggling with on how best to repay student loans and how to do it in a way that works within their financial situation, but also how it best helps them reach their specific goals. So looks like awesome. Everyone is there. So guys, tonight's gonna be a little bit different. I know on the broadcast it says question and answer. We will have a question and answer at the end, but actually what I'm going to do is go through an actual presentation that I created for everyone. So I'm just going to open that up here real quick. One moment. If you guys see me looking off to the sides because I'm starting this. So let's see here. We'll do this as a slide. All right. Hopefully everyone can see that. So tonight's topic is the Credilife's guide or Credilife's guide to understanding student loan repayment options. Okay. So first step here, introduction. You know, obviously, when you're going through you've graduated high school, you're excited, you're going for your career. Maybe you're going back to school. You know, pursuing another, you're pursuing another position or looking to improve on your education. All this is all reasons why people end up getting student loans because obviously they're going to school and there's a cost to going to school. You know, right now I literally just saw right now there's 1.63 trillion people that have federal student loan debt. Okay. 1.6 trillion people. I didn't put this on there, but of those, or $1.6 trillion in federal student loan debt, of that amount, 4.6 million people are defaulted in their federal student loans. Okay. So that's huge, guys. Keep in mind, $1.6 trillion in federal student loan debt. And of all that amount, of all the people that have federal student loan debt, 4.6 million people right now are defaulted on their federal student loans. And I think the reason being is that a lot of people either have gone through financial struggles or they don't know the best ways to handle repayment and they end up getting delinquent and they get sent to default. So real quick here, I'm going to give it a minute, Jeremy. I got your message. Don't worry. There's a lot of things I'm going to go over initially here before we start going through the nuts and bolts of this presentation. But I just want you guys to understand the reason why I wanted to create this tonight is I want this to be something that members can refer back to and at least have a better understanding of your options instead of burying your head, so to speak, in the sand and not addressing it. Okay, because I think that's a huge issue with most people. Is for whatever reason, they feel like they got too much going on and they feel it's too much to handle. They might have multiple student loan servicers, multiple disbursements in federal student loan debt. They're asking for a payment you can't afford. I mean, you name it, I've heard it. There's a lot of things surrounding it. So let me just see where we're at real quick, guys. I'm just looking down to see where we're at for people. We got 22 people on, more people joining. We got questions. We got some people here. Yeah, I'll just give it some time to let people join in. But, once again, I want to announce for anyone that's joining us a little bit later. So anyone that's watching this, now live or the replay thereafter, we got Tyler Honningschmidt, who has been promoted and hired to handle the student loan division at Credilife, the Credilife Student Loan Assist Program. Phenomenal program. Right now, he's currently handling and taking over with his team all of our active clients and their files. He's been working really hard on that, getting a handle on everything that's going on. And then what we're going to be doing is working with anyone else that needs help with student loans. We have the ability to help you. That's what this is all about. Tonight's presentation is going to be a lot of information that gives you the power to really get a handle on your student loans. But if it's something that seems just a little too much to handle, or you want a professional to help you, we'll have options for that at the end. Also, for everyone that's watching this here tonight, I have some really cool things, incentives at the end for everyone that sticks around to the end. That I got some free stuff to give you guys. So definitely stick around. Let me see where we're at right now. Perfect. Thank you. Yep. Thank you, guys. Awesome. All right. I'm going to get after it here because people can jump on. It's all good. It's 7:07, so we're 7 minutes after 7. All right. So we're going to go to the next page. All right. You have a choice. There are multiple federal student loan repayment options right now. Okay. You have a choice. Let's figure out what those are and see what it means. So you got standard repayment. So right now, guys, for anyone that's been in the situation, when you first get out of school, you have what's called the grace period. And in that grace period, you have a 6-month grace period. And after that, typically, you're going to go back into what's called a standard repayment plan, which is a 10-year term. They're fixed payments. Typically, it depends on the amount of federal student loan debt, but payments must be at least $50 a month. A lot of times you're going to pay less interest just because obviously the term is less. So what that means is for anyone out there when it comes to understanding of loans, if you have a term to your loan, right, a repayment term, in this case it's 10 years. You have an interest rate tied to that loan and you have a loan amount. Based on those factors, that's how they calculate your payment. Now you're going into your payments, they're fixed payments, all right, over a 10-year term. So this is the standard repayment plan for most people, especially with the amount of student loan debt out there right now. Typically, most people are not in this plan, which I understand because there's a lot of debt out there. Graduated repayment plan. This is actually a really cool plan. I've helped a lot of people get into this plan, and this is where the coaching comes into play of understanding. I'm gonna move this to the side so it doesn't distract me, guys. I got all the comments happening on my side, but A lot of people that I'm working with, and when we're going through our team, our staff, the coaches, it's all about planning, right? It's all about understanding and working with when it comes to, oh, sorry, Jeremy. I got that all covered, bud. You don't need to worry about it. So let me get back on track here. So when it comes to graduated repayment, this is a phenomenal option for anyone that is going into a position that right now you may not be making that much money, but you have a career path where that income is going to be increasing, or you're looking for a lower payment now to focus on any additional funds towards debt reduction, and then you'll be prepared for the higher payment. So what happens is typically loans going to be a 10-year plan. They actually go beyond that. This can be extended, which I'm going into here shortly. Every 2 years, the payment then goes up. Dependent on the graduated repayment or the extended graduated repayment, every 2 years is going to go up, typically around $10 to $25 per month. Okay, that's what I see in most cases. So as you're going, that payment's going up every 2 years. Ultimately, by the end of the 10, 20, 25, or 30-year term, it's then paid off in full. Okay, really, really good option for people just getting out of school. They're getting into their career path. They know they're going to be making more money, but just right now they can't quite afford that 10-year fixed payment, okay? Really, really good option for someone like that. Now, here's the extended repayment plan. So this is what we talked about before. So this is the 20, 25, or 30-year term loans, okay? Loan balance must be at least $30,000 to go into any sort of extended repayment plan, okay? All these plans right now that I'm talking about are more conventional repayment plans, okay? So these are going to be the standard and conventional repayment plans. You have standard and extended, okay? So this is going to be a fixed repayment or a graduated. So in this case, we're looking at a fixed repayment plan. This allows us to extend the term out, which then lowers the payment. You'll still have a loan balance and all that associated interest rate, and then that's how they're going to calculate your payment. 1 second here. Income-based repayment plan. Perfect. Okay. Now, in most cases, this is what most people are working towards. Income-driven repayment options, okay? So in this one specifically, there's actually one called income-based. The reason why I wanted to start with this one as a repayment plan option is that most people, when they hear income-based repayment, feel like that's all the income-driven. There is a huge difference between income-driven repayment options and income-based repayment. Income-based repayment is one of the income-driven repayment options, okay? So in this case, when it comes to income-based repayment, how they factor your payment is based off discretionary income. Here, I'm actually going to exit out of here because I keep getting bleeps in my ear from everyone chatting at me so I can focus. I apologize, guys. Let me just get that out of there. All right, perfect. So now, most people don't understand how these plans are, how the payments are factored in these plans. So what you have to understand is everything is based off what's called discretionary income. So you have your household income, right? You have your household size. So how many dependents are you claiming? Do you have a spouse or not? And your tax filing status, as well as cost of living per zip code, okay? So let's say you're a husband and wife, you have 3 kids. Between you and your husband, you're filing your taxes married and jointly. So they're going to take the household adjusted gross income. They're going to have the 3 dependents on there, dependents on where you live. All that, then they say, okay, based on these numbers, the Department of Education has a mathematical algorithm that says, okay, based on this, you should have a discretionary income of $1,000 per month. Of the $1,000, we're going to base your payment off 15% of that. It's $150 a month. That's how they factor the payments. So in this case, with income-based repayment, the payment is based off 15% of discretionary income. That's very important to understand, okay? Now, a lot of times, the income-driven repayment options, which I'm going to go into more, typically are lower than the conventional repayment options in most cases. It obviously depends on your specific situation, but in most cases, the IDR plans are normally lower, which is why it's so appealing to a lot of people, okay? Let's jump on in here. All right, pay as you earn. This is huge. So the one before, income-based repayment, is a 25-year term. And I'm going to talk a little about debt forgiveness, cancellation, discharge, all that later. But you have to remember, income-based repayment is a 25-year term. Pay as you earn, which is a phenomenal plan if you qualify, is a 20-year term. And they base the payment off 10% of your discretionary income. So in the example that I had before, if you're in the IBR plan, that's 15%, right? So if they, based on your information, let's say $1,000 is what's factored as discretionary income as a whole, the payment would be 150. Well, in this case, the payment would be 100. That's a significant reduction in monthly payment, okay? Especially for anyone that's looking to utilize any sort of cash flow to stay current on debt obligations or strategically pay off or pay down debts. You know, a lot of times that extra $50 can go a long way, okay? So the reason why I bring up these plans, you know, just to kind of take a step back so you guys understand, here is a huge issue that's happening with a lot of people. You got student loans right now, you know, you just got out of your grace period, or you placed them in forbearance and now your forbearance is ending. You're getting billings all the time of a, let's say it's a standard repayment of $500 a month. You're like, I can't afford $500 a month. What do I do, right? Typically, what does a person do? They reach out to their servicer. They reach out to Navient. They reach out to FedLoan, Nelnet, whoever it is. Here is something that happens. I'm not saying this happens every time, but it does happen quite often. You call the servicer. What's the job of the servicer? What's the job of Nelnet? What's their job? They're there to service and collect the payments on your federal student loans. Where's the motivation? The motivation is to collect. That's how they get paid, right? It's how they make their money. So if that's the case, what do you feel is their motivation to make sure they place you in the lowest payment option? Right? Think about it. In most cases, I see people getting placed into IBR plans, income-based repayment at 15%, when they actually qualified for pay-as-you-earn. So in the example before, that could have been a $50 a month difference. I've seen differences far more than that per month, okay? So guys, keep this in mind. It's a big deal. Everything that you want to do, this is why it's all about, you know, having information, making informed decisions. You have to make sure everything that we do, for instance, on our side for our clients, we're working directly with Department of Education, you know, U.S. Department of Education, because they're the parent, right? They make the rules. We want to work within that. We want the full scope of what's available, and we want to run through the scenarios to find the best repayment plan for you based on your situation now financially, as well as your goals moving forward, okay? So pay as you earn, I'm telling you guys, a lot of people qualify for this, and a lot of people are not in this, and they're in the income-based, okay? That's a big deal. So you want to make sure that you're in the right plan for you and what you qualify for. Awesome. Okay, income contingent. Now, of the income-driven repayment options, this is going to be the highest payment option, just because based off 20% discretionary income, okay? So everything that you're in an IDR plan is always based off household income, household size, tax filing status, and cost of living per zip code. The ICR plan is actually more specific to people that if you've had like a Parent Plus loan, there's certain loans that will not qualify for pay-as-you-earn or income-based repayment, but they do qualify for income contingent repayment. Another thing that ICR that you can do with income contingent, which I call ICR, it's abbreviation, is if you have, let's say you're a husband and wife or spouse, and you both have federal student loan debt, you can actually calculate the repayment, and actually you don't combine the loans together, but they'll take both loans into consideration, and they'll factor the payment into an ICR plan for each of you, and they take both loans into consideration, and then you just have that one payment. So it's kind of confusing, but here's the deal. In most cases, even when someone can do that, I'll run through the numbers with the husband and wife. In all reality, if they qualify for pay-as-you-earn, the payment for pay-as-you-earn is less, and we just keep them separate. So ICR is not something that is typically used very often, honestly. All right, so obviously now we know there's repayment options, right? So we have the standard repayment. We have extended repayment, both fixed and graduated. We have income-driven repayment options. We have pay-as-you-earn. There's actually one called revised pay-as-you-earn, which is still 10% discretionary income. So I didn't bring it up because it's very similar. The difference is 20 to 25 years in term. You have income-based repayment, and you have income contingent repayment, all right? It's very important that you consider all repayment options and choose the best one based on your situation. I've brought that up many times just because a lot of people immediately assume they want to go to the one that has the lowest payment, but maybe that helps your situation now for the short term. But let's say your income is going to increase greatly in 6 to 12 months, may not be the best option because that income is going to, that payment could easily shoot up the following year and maybe it doesn't make sense, whereas an extended graduated might have made more sense. So that's why it's important to kind of run through all the different scenarios. All right, loan consolidation. This is a huge one. All right. A lot of people in this group are asking, should I consolidate? Shouldn't I consolidate? So what I just went through right now are all the different repayment options, but that doesn't necessarily mean a consolidation. That's just the different repayment options in general for disbursements or a consolidated loan. Okay. So if you were to consolidate your loans, what that means is this. All the people in this group obviously are on Identity IQ or Smart Credit or Privacy Guard or something. The preferred that we like is either Identity IQ or Smart Credit. But if you take a look at your credit report and you see that you went to school, you're out, and even though you may have the same servicer, look at your credit report. You'll see multiple disbursements because as you were going through school and you're obtaining disbursements as you're to pay for your school costs, those actually report separately as a loan. So even though you may have Navient as one servicer that you're making your payments to, it could easily be spread across 6 disbursements, 6 separate loans, 8, 9. I've seen 12. I've seen a ton. Okay. Now, the reason why I bring this up is that's the whole point of consolidation. The consolidation is going to take all those disbursements, those separate loans, pay them off in full, and now we have one new loan with a combined total loan amount, and now it's been consolidated. Another key thing to know and understand about loan consolidation is when you consolidate your loan, it actually changes in some cases the eligibility of repayment and may open up better repayment options when it comes to income-driven repayment options. So there's times where someone may only qualify for income contingent, which remember is 20% of discretionary income, but by doing a consolidation first, now they've opened up the option to be approved for the income-based repayment, which is based off 15% of discretionary income, meaning your payment goes down, right? Huge. Should you consolidate your loans? Big reason why people like to consolidate is if you were to have multiple disbursements, you may have multiple servicers. You may have Fed loan servicing a few, now you got Navient. It really is, there's a convenience factor to just having one loan and one servicer. That's definitely a convenience to a lot of people. A lot of times when you do a consolidation, you're doing that to open up options to lower your monthly payment. So that's a phenomenal option. You get to choose your best repayment plan based on your situation. What's really nice is a lot of people don't understand this, but what they'll do when you do a consolidation is they'll take all the separate interest rates, the total loans, and they do what's called a weighted average. So in the end, it ends up being identical when it comes to interest rate. So there's really no negative impact in doing that, except for obviously opening up better repayment options for you. Another thing on a credit side, guys, I want to touch base on this. Now, if someone is looking to be strategic in the investigation process in their credit improvement, there is definitely a benefit. No matter what you read out there, there's all sorts of bad information out there. If you have an active student loan that's open that you're paying on or should be paying on or they're collecting on, and you have late payment history, going through the investigation process and attempting removing some late payment history, the probability of that coming off is very low, especially if it's open and active. Now, let's say you do a consolidation. Let's say you have 6 disbursements with Navient, and a year ago you had a few late payments, 2 years ago, 3, whatever it is. Well, if you go through and do a consolidation first, now those loans get paid off zero balance, and now you have a new loan with a new servicer. Let's say it's Fed loan. Well, the motivation for Navient to go through the strategic investigation process and responding to the different ways that you can challenge an account is going to be lower, right? So what that means is it's increased our chances of attempting to remove the late payment history. That's another huge benefit to consolidation for credit repair purposes. Oh, let me go back real quick. Clicked a little bit. So loan consolidation requirements. You must have more than one loan. That's a big one. You can't be grace period. A lot of people don't know this. If you're still in that 6-month grace period, you have to be outside that grace period to consolidate your loans. However, you can actually do all the submission during the grace period, and after the grace period, everything goes into effect, which is really nice. You have to have more than one loan. That's a big one. Now, let's say you previously consolidated a loan. Let's say you went to school years ago, you consolidated, you went to repayment, decided to go back to school, and you obtained additional financing. Well, once you're done with your new school and your new loans, you can actually go back and now reconsolidate everything. You just cannot consolidate an already consolidated loan unless you're consolidating it with new loans. Okay, if that makes sense. You can't just go and submit another consolidation on a loan that's already been consolidated. Facts about loan consolidation, the interest and typically the interest rate is fixed over time of the life of the loan. Repayment will begin no more than 60 days after the payment's been dispersed. So here's another cool thing about the process of consolidation. Let's say in most cases people are in this group, you're looking to be strategic with your finances to get to your goals. Well, what you can do is place your loans, your current federal loan repayment into forbearance to allow for consolidation. Let's say you place it in 90 or 120-day forbearance. And then what we do is we submit all the proper documentation for the consolidation. And then typically once the consolidation goes through, it can take up to 90 days, sometimes 120, just for the consolidation process. Now that first payment's out 60 days from there, well, we've just bought ourselves quite a bit of time here to not have to make any payments and utilize those funds in a way to help you get to your goals faster. So this is where what I call financial positioning, right? Strategic debt management. Hey, we're going to save now, let's say $1,000 over 6 months because we didn't have to make those payments. How can we utilize these funds in a disciplined way to help us get to our goals? Maybe we need some debt settlement. Maybe we need to pay down some credit card debt. Maybe we need to prepare for certain things coming up that we know, like a down payment for a mortgage. You name it, there's so many different options. That's why it's really nice to work with our team here to really go through and kind of map out these options for you. So deferment and forbearance, I'll make this really quick, okay? I just really want to touch on a few things, just the difference between the two and where they come into play and where they can benefit you, okay? So deferment means you're enrolled in school at least more than half time and more, right? So you're in school deferment. In most cases, dependent on the type of the loan, you do not have to pay or make any payments while you're in deferment. There are certain ones where you can elect to make payments on the interest that accrues, but there's only certain ones that accrue interest, and actually the majority do not accrue interest during the disbursement and the grace period or deferment period of in school, okay? If you're unemployed, there's certain things. Actually, I'll go to the next one. If you're unemployed or if you have certain financial situations going on, you can qualify for deferment or, in this case, mandatory forbearance. So, your total of your student loan repayments are 20% or more of your income. That qualifies you right there for mandatory forbearance. If you're active member of the National Guard, if you're an activated member of National Guard but ineligible for deferment, you can then qualify for forbearance. Sorry, guys, I'm super excited today. I'm speaking a little fast, so I apologize. A lot of different reasons here. Now, forbearance. This is one I really want to touch on, okay? So deferment typically is in-school deferment. 9 times out of 10, that's deferment. Forbearance is very different. This is where people get in trouble. You're kind of like, hey, I can't afford this payment. It's $500 a month. I don't know what I need to do. You just keep putting in forbearance, right? Pick up the phone, you call Fed Loan. Hey, I can't afford it. They're like, oh, we can place you in a forbearance. Okay, great. What happens when we're in forbearance? Yeah, we don't make any payments. But if we exercise that right too much, what happens is we're enacting what's called compounding interest. This is a big deal. Most people that I work with easily have $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 in federal student loan debt, easily more as well, okay? Now, every time that you have a payment that you're supposed to make, a portion of that payment goes towards interest. What they do is they take that portion, goes on the next one, compounds on itself. Balance goes up. That's a huge deal. I don't want my balance to go up. I want my balance to go down unless I'm qualifying for like forgiveness or something like that, right? So keep this in mind. Forbearance really only makes sense for short-term reasons, like a consolidation. Hey, I want to be strategic with my financial situation right now. I'm going to do consolidation. I'm going to place that into like an income-driven repayment plan. Give myself about 6 months here, but I'm only doing 4 months of forbearance. And then I'm going to utilize those funds to pay down debts. All reality, yes, do we do accrue interest? We did, but really, it's not that much. There are many people that place their loan into forbearance for years. And all of a sudden they're talking to me or my team and they're going, man, how much do I owe? I only took out $30,000. I owe 42,000? Yeah. Well, how long has it been since you've made a payment? You know what I mean? Like, trust me, it racks up really quick. So I want you guys to understand that. Don't make forbearance the go-to option when you can't afford your payment. Yes, it's there. There's a lot of phenomenal options for federal student loans that help you if you're going through a hardship, but don't abuse it. You know, that's the biggest thing I'm trying to explain right now. So let me just keep moving through because I want to do Q&A at the end, okay? Here's one I want to talk about. Debt forgiveness, cancellation, and discharge. I see this brought up in the group all the time, okay? So we got total and permanent disability discharge is an option, okay, for federal student loans. So if you're totally disabled or considered to have a permanent disability, you can be relieved of your student loan obligations, all right? Now, this is the process, just so you guys understand. This isn't really something that we do for our clients because you know your situation more. You have to actually go see your doctor. You have to provide documentation to show that you're disabled. You know, that's something that really makes more sense for you to handle. We definitely work with clients when it comes to consolidation, getting out of default, refinancing, all that. But when it comes to discharge, it's something that I really think that most clients should handle on their own. I mean, I don't mind coaching you through that or our team, but it's something that, you know, it really, you have to go through the steps there. But if you're a veteran and the Department of Veterans Affairs can provide documentation that you're disabled or unemployable, that's another one. If you're receiving Social Security, disability insurance, or supplemental security income, you may qualify for student loan discharge. Or if your doctor can certify you have an impairment that's expected to result in death that lasted at least 60 months, or that's expected to last at least 60 months, okay? Your student loans may be forgiven. So unfortunately, that last one's a little bit morbid, but life happens, you know what I mean? That's unfortunate. But in most cases, people who are permanently disabled, this is a really good option for you to look into, okay? If you actually go into, I don't know, I don't have everything pulled up because it was beeping at me, guys. So if Tiffany or Jeremy or Tyler, if you guys can go to the U.S. Department of Education website, just Google federal student loan disability discharge. There is a page on there that gives you all the information in the form that you have to fill out and submit and to start that process, okay? So if anyone's on here that has that, by all means, please do that. Forgiveness. I want to talk about forgiveness. There's a huge difference between debt forgiveness eligibility when it comes to income-driven repayment plans. So you have pay-as-you-earn, repayee, which is revised pay-as-you-earn. You have income-based repayment. You have income contingent repayment. All those qualify for debt forgiveness eligibility at the end of the term, which ranges 20 to 25 years. So remember, your payments are based off what's called discretionary income. It's not based off loan balance, interest rate, and repayment term like a traditional loan is. It's completely different. So at the end of the term, any additional principal and accrued interest that's still due, that's when the forgiveness comes into play. And typically on those plans, you would then be, you'd want to file that with your IRS because it is considered real income. So, but even with that tax burden, you still saved a ton of money. So trust me, it's worth it in most cases. Teacher loan forgiveness and public service loan forgiveness. These are different. So for teacher, you have teacher loan forgiveness. If you're a teacher and didn't get a student loan before 10/1 of 1998, you might have up to $17,500 forgiven on your loan. What's really cool, so you have to be teaching at least full-time for 5 years in a low-income school. That's how they figure out what you qualify for. And what's really cool about this one, boom, once you qualify, it's taken off. It's taken off. Boom, right then and there. I love it. So that's more of, if you qualify, take advantage of it. Public service loan forgiveness. We are on a very short timeline here, guys. It's about to go away. Public service loan forgiveness. But if you are in a public sector, if you're a nurse, you're a teacher, you're working for a nonprofit, this is a phenomenal opportunity that's going away. It's a 10-year term. So all the different income-driven repayment plans that we talked about, this then gets applied to that and cuts the term down to 10 years, which is huge. I mean, it's huge. So take advantage of this while it's still there. We can help you with that, but we got to move quick. Set to go away, I believe, in May or June. I'll get the details of that and post about it, but I'm almost certain it's May or June. It's going away. So let's take advantage of that while you still have it. Otherwise, you'll have to take all the other IDR plans are remaining, but take advantage of that while you still can. All right, default. Guys, I'm going to get right into default. There's a lot of people that are dealing with defaulted student loans. I talked about in the beginning. 4.3 million people are in default right now with their federal student loans. 4.3 million. That's a ton. It's a lot of people. Shows you student loans is a huge issue right now. But they're government-backed loans. You need to pay them. Now, if you that's just all there is to it. So if you've gone delinquent, as soon as you hit 90 days delinquent, that's when they start reporting to the major credit bureaus, okay? So it's not your typical loan or a credit card where you hit 30 and they report at the 90. Not saying to play games in that route. I'm telling you the truth of how it works. If you can afford to make your payments on time. But at 90 days is when you go delinquent, they start reporting. As soon as you hit 270 days of delinquency, loans go into default, okay? At that point, everything changes. They've been assigned to government. They go to default. They're going to go to what's called debt management, which is a very, very large third-party collection company that services these defaulted debts for Department of Education. And even with them, they'll a lot of times send it to like Conserve and all these other Allied, Interstate, and all these companies that also then service defaulted student loan debt. So they're almost like the servicer to the servicer of the defaulted student loan debt. They're collection companies, okay? But they have a lot more power. One thing to keep in mind, which I'm going to get into right now, consequences of being in default, entire loan balance and unpaid interest is then immediately due once it goes into default, okay? So technically, boom, everything's due. You've now lost eligibility for deferment, forbearance, and a lot of different repayment plans. You're no longer eligible because you're in default. You're unable to obtain additional student loans. It's a huge one. So if you have defaulted student loans, you want to go back to school and get financing, you got to take care of your defaulted student loans. They're going to be assigned to a collection agency. Tax refund can be withheld. This is why I wanted to bring this up. We're right around that time where people have already been filing. Some people's refunds have been levied. If you haven't filed yet because you know you have defaulted student loans, you do still have time, because what happens is once you're in defaulted with federal student loans, they submit you to what's called a Treasury offset list. And if you're on that list and you file, they're taking your refund, okay? That's a big thing. Now, the way to get out of that, which I'll talk about later, is there are ways, and it doesn't take that long, but we have to be proactive. We have to get after it. Here's a huge one. Late fees, extra interest, collection and legal fees, court costs, all these certain things can be added on to your debt. So it just really depends on where it goes off in the process and how it gets handled once it goes to default. But yeah, late fees, extra interest, and collection fees are going to be added on. And trust me, they're going to go to their legal maximum amount because they're there to make money, okay? Another huge one, your wages can be garnished, okay? So think about it, guys. Let's say for anyone that's gone through an issue in their past, you had a credit card that went to collection. They then sent it to an attorney firm. They pursued you through a judgment. There's a process behind that. It takes time. In this case, because federal student loan debt, you get behind 270 days, they send it to default. They're going to give you some time to work with you. They're going to reach out. They're going to be proactive. But if you don't respond and work something out with them, they can immediately go to garnishment. They don't have to send you to judgment. They're going to find your employer. They're going to garnish your wages. Okay, a lot of people, this is happening to them, and it can cause hardship. It really can. So we need to avoid that. And if you're being garnished, we have to get you out of default, because it doesn't make sense to stay in garnishment. I know a lot of times of human nature, people get used to certain things like, I'm being garnished, but at least I'm paying it off, and yeah, I'll just let it keep happening. No, I just said late fees, collection costs, extra interest. Trust me, you're paying for that. You don't want to be in garnishment. They're taking advantage of the situation. So we got to get you out of that into a voluntary repayment plan, and we can also reduce those costs. So that's very important. You have options. We kind of talked about it. The biggest one that most cases people hear about is the rehabilitation. Rehabilitation is awesome, okay? This is specific to federal student loans. If you have not been in rehabilitation before, what we do for our clients is we have a financial statement disclosure filled out. We have to understand your financial status, what's coming in, what's going out, and they actually have a list. This is per Department of Education. They have a list of what expenses are acceptable. They already have a list of what information that they need. We have to fill that out with you as our client to get an understanding of what's going on, and it also has to be provided to the collection company servicing the default of student loan debt. But here's the key. The rehabilitation, we're able to go in and now negotiate a voluntary repayment. So you're not getting your wages garnished. You're not yet on the Treasury offset list, hopefully. And even if you are, we can get you off. We need to get you back into repayment, basically. That's what we got to do here. We have to do voluntary repayment. Okay, you're voluntarily paying them to get back on track. Also, we can negotiate to have default remarks removed from your credit report, which is huge for your overall credit improvement journey. But here's the one I love the most, even more than the other one. We can negotiate a reduction of those fees and costs. Dependent on the total loan amount that you had, that could easily be $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. I see it all the time. It's a ton of money. Let's save you that money. You know what I mean? It's a big deal. Ways to pay off student loans quickly. So let me just take a step back real quick on the rehabilitation so you guys understand. Is that's a program that's a 10-month program where you make 9 payments within the 10 months, okay, of that voluntary payment that's accepted and negotiated. You can also do what's called accelerated. So this is what a lot of people don't know, and I do this a lot for my clients. If we get a payment that's affordable to them, you can do what's called an accelerated payment where we can make a payment, say same day, we negotiate, we get everything done. We say, okay, we can make a payment on this date. They accept it. Let's say it's the 15th of March. And then what we do is we do another payment on the 16th of March, and everything else moving forward is on the 16th. What we've now done is in a matter of 30 days, we've made 3 payments. So already we've knocked the 9 qualified payments down to 6, and it helps shorten that time of rehabilitation. So that's the key, because if we can get you out of default, because you don't get out of default until you've made the 9th voluntary payment and a new servicer picks your loans back up. So even if you've made the 9th payment, sometimes you might make another one because there's a transition happening for a new servicer to pick that up and now servicing that student loan. So let's say it was debt management. Now it's going to Fed loan. They then reach out to you, say, hey, we got your student loans. Here's your repayment. Also, keep this in mind. You've successfully finished the rehabilitation. Now you've been rehabilitated, right? You're doing good. It goes back to a standard conventional repayment. So if you guys have been listening, that's a 10-year fixed. So you might have been making $5 a month because payments can be as low as $5 for rehabilitation. You go from $5 to $400. Most people can't afford that. So once again, you want to be proactive and understand that once you've completed rehabilitation, we want to be proactive at that time to immediately submit into one of the repayment plans available. Now that you're out of default, you qualify for those repayment plans. So now we got ways to pay off student loans quickly. Here's a huge one, guys. This is more specific to someone that they're not taking advantage of debt forgiveness, right? They're not in a more lower income bracket where their debt forgiveness eligibility and their payments are low. Let's say you're really honing in on, hey, I want to pay off my student loans. I don't really, I've run the numbers. I don't qualify for any debt forgiveness. So to me, I want to help mitigate and be strategic in how I'm paying off these debts and help mitigate some of that interest. Here's one really cool thing that I recommend all clients do if they're able, is if you set your payments up on automatic payment, they'll give you a 0.25% discount in interest rate. That's huge. 0.25% is huge. Think about it. A lot of people's student loans are very similar to what a mortgage can be for a total amount. So if you're out there shopping a mortgage, think about it. If someone offers you 5%, then this person says 4.75. Which one are you going to go with? 4.75, quarter percent is a huge deal, huge discount. So take advantage of that. Sometimes there's other options and rate reductions. It's very specific to the lender. So that doesn't always qualify for anything, but it's always good to be proactive to see if they offer any sort of additional incentives. And in certain cases, it really depends. Consolidated loans can lower interest rates, but that's more specific to the private side and going to the private sector. Loan payoff tips, create a budget. So for everyone that's watching this in the end, I got some free stuff, some incentives for you guys, some cool prizes type thing. One of those is going to be information on debt reduction strategies, and it starts with creating a budget, right? So if you know that you're looking to be strategic with your debts and how you pay them off, you need to understand what's coming in and what's going out. And what's going out, you have to control that with controlled spending and allocate a budget for certain category expenses. Okay, so I'll talk about that another time. Refrain from borrowing more than needed. Okay, this is a huge issue. This is more specific to anyone that's watching or wants to share this with a child, someone's about to enter into college. You don't need to take more. Don't take more than you need. Okay, that's a huge thing. When you're just getting out of high school and you're just getting into the world and you're getting these student loans basically thrown at you, it's very easy to obtain student loans, and you're like, oh, I'll just take the max amount. Sure, that's great. Oh, this helps cover some living expenses. This will help me with this and that. Well, there's a price to pay for that, and trust me, each disbursement as it comes, before you know it, you could owe a lot of money in student loans, okay? So only take out the amount that you actually need. Pay more than the minimum monthly payment is an obvious one for people that are looking to strategically pay that down. And I like this last one, guys. I've talked to a lot of clients that work with us who take on a part-time job. Guys, if you are struggling financially, typically outside of budgeting and working on controlled spending, the only way to get it better is to make more money. Well, what's the way that you can make more money? You take on a part-time job. There's a lot of options out there that you can work from home. I mean, trust me, there's a lot of stuff happening. That's what's great about our day right now in technology and companies and working from home. Trust me, there's some options out there. You should be proactively looking into it, because if you can take on an extra job, now you're just utilizing all those funds to pay off debt. You'd be surprised what that does to your overall financial freedom in the future. I'm going to just move over. So conclusion, obviously we have options. I want you guys to understand you have options, and I want you to understand the difference between the options, because a lot of people just take what's given to them without understanding what that was and what that means for their future, okay? That's very important, especially with student loans, because typically the loan balance can be high. Typically the struggle is there. The financial burden is there, and it's very important to know what's going on. So real quick here, for everyone that's been watching this here tonight, I'm going to do Q&A here for 10 minutes at the end, and in the next few minutes for 10 minutes. But guys, anyone that's watching tonight, if you want help with your student loans, we can help you. The consultation is no charge. So if you want to enroll, if you want to look into your options, we offer that. For anyone that books a consultation tonight, for in the future, obviously not tonight, but book it tonight and for the future, we're going to have $50 off your enrollment. $50 we're going to give it for anyone that actually stuck with me to the end of this, because I know student loans aren't the most fun topic to be watching about. So also, for anyone that books a consultation, and not just a consultation, but even if you reach out, if you go to our website, yourcreditlife.com, that's www.yourcreditlife.com, click on the contact us, submit your information, say you watched the webinar tonight, you want a copy of our Credilife Debt Reduction Strategies ebook. Anyone that's watching tonight, you book a consultation or you go to our website and book that, we're going to get that information over to you. It's a Debt Reduction Strategies ebook, because once again, I talked about before, student loans a big burden, but a lot of times you want to be strategic in how you handle your debts to reduce that burden and pay them in a way that's good for your situation now, but your goals in the future. So that's for everyone that watched the live tonight. So we can track this. If you book a consultation tonight, we can see that when it was actually booked. And then also tonight, if you fill out that web app, with just saying, hey, contact me, I want more information on this ebook, boom, you're going to get it. So I'm going to jump off this. All right, let's take some questions. Holy smokes, there's a lot of questions. All right. So I apologize, guys, if I'm looking down. I just want to see here. All right, so Timothy, best advice for one who has $90,000 in loan debt that's in forbearance. Okay, first thing, Timothy, talked about it before. We have to try to get you out of forbearance. I know $90,000 is a huge burden, and obviously most standard repayments is going to be very expensive per month, which is probably why you're in forbearance. Let's run through the options. Schedule that consultation. There's a no risk, there's no charge to the consultation itself. What we do is we go through what options are available, understand your situation in more detail, and see if you can get into repayment that's going to work within your budget to get you out of forbearance. I'm telling you right now, if you have $90,000, that compounding interest, your balance is going up fast. We got to get you out of there. Carmela, like the ebook, go to yourcreditlife.com. Click on the contact us, say, hey, I want a copy of that debt reductions ebook, okay? Or if you book a consultation, that automatically is going to cue you in to get that free ebook, okay? Let's see here. Thank you. Looking at, yep. Hopefully I'm saying this right. Katina, hopefully. Yeah, she said it. I took out more than I needed because I could. Of course, I didn't know. I was young. That's what I was trying to say. Trust me, a lot of people, here's two things that happen. A lot of people take out more than they needed. They did, you're younger, you just don't know, right? You're just kind of, yeah, okay, give it to me, free money, woohoo, but it doesn't really work like that. You have to pay it back. But this is a huge thing too with Parent Plus loans. I've helped a lot of parents with Parent Plus loans at the time wanting to help their child, thinking that they're more co-signing for it, the child's gonna be able to pay it. Man, for one, Parent Plus loan, it's your obligation as the parent. It only reports on your credit. You are the one that's responsible, not your child, even though you did it for your child. And a lot of times, unfortunately, in our day and age, the child can't afford that payment. So it's very important to look into options. There's some strategic options with Parent Plus loans. In fact, one of them that I talked about before is doing a consolidation, which changes the type of loan and opens up different income-driven repayment plans. So keep that in mind. I'm going to go here for another 6 minutes. So I'm just going to go through, ask some questions. Peggy, I am disabled and get Social Security disability income right now. You're in deferment. Should I consolidate all 11 student loans before trying to? No. Thank you so much for asking that question. Do not consolidate your loan if you feel like you qualify for discharge. That could, in certain cases, disqualify you for cancellation. Okay? Not so much for the disability, but you don't want to put any risk, okay? Keep them as is. Reach out to your servicer. Let them know that you're in disability income. Go to that site. Even if you just Google Federal Student Loan Disability Discharge, make sure you're going to the government website and follow the instructions on there. You're going to fill out that form, submit that form, get on top of it. That way you can submit for the discharge, okay? That's a big one. Oh, sweet. Tiffany and Mark added it. Thank you guys so much. What are the requirements for teacher forgiveness? So teacher forgiveness, so you have the public service loan forgiveness. Teacher forgiveness is more specific to low income schools and areas. So what you need to do is there's actually a form. You reach out to your servicer. They'll provide you the form. You fill it out. You'll find out if you qualify for teacher loan forgiveness. Once again, it's really cool about it. If you qualify, boom, they take it off the top right out the gates. I love that. So, Brian Kurzweil, did I go tanning? Yes, I did. Hey, it's Minnesota. It's been winter. I'm sick of it. I was super white. I wanted to feel like I had a little tan. I wanted to feel like I had a vacation. So that's why I did that. So, let's see here. As far as I know, that means if your school is Title I 90% or more free, reduced lunch, or low poverty. Yeah, so that's for more of the low-income schools, exactly. Let's see here. Asking more questions. After rehabilitation, are loans eligible for income-based repayment plans? Oh, you know what, Renee? That's a phenomenal question. I know we're helping. I know we're helping your son out with this. So with his student loans. But specific to rehabilitation and defaulted student loans, once you go through and you've been rehabilitated, you've made the 9 payments within the 10-month period, yes, you're now out of default, and it reopens up the eligibility to those different repayment options I talked about in the beginning of the webinar. So yeah, that's another huge benefit to getting out of default. Guys, if anyone's in default in here, I can't stress it enough. You need to talk to us. We got to get you out of default. You do not want your wages garnished. Even if they're being garnished, there are ways to get them out of garnishment. Bare minimum, worst case scenario, garnishment lasts for 5 months, then they stop garnishment. That's worst case. Or if we can prove an economic hardship, they'll stop garnishment, and then we just go right into voluntary repayment. So guys, there's options. There's options. There's options. There's options. Take advantage of it. Does your program also work for new grads? I am in good standing, but starting to pay. My income is not going to be great. Yes, Melissa, yes. We help people that are recent graduates all the way up to the parent that took out Parent Plus loans and in between. We've helped a ton, hundreds of people with their student loans. And now that we have Tyler, he's going to be phenomenal, guys. I'm telling you, Tyler knows so much about student loans. Now he's running our team. We have a division solely devoted to helping people with student loan repayment options, okay? This is for federal and private. We even help people do interest rate reduction refinancing. That's more specific to someone that has an income and good credit score. But man, I'm telling you, anywhere between, we can help you. So take advantage of booking that. Oh, Renee, sorry, Chris is your husband. I'm so sorry. I don't know why for some reason I was thinking offhand. I really do apologize, Renee. So, awesome. Let's see, Brandy. I have about $100,000 in student loans, the majority from grad school. I worked for not even a year after grad school. Became pregnant, put bed rest right away. Then I've had surgery. Oh my goodness, found a tumor while pregnant. Brandy, I'm so sorry. I've not worked since. I haven't been able to make a payment on my student loans. Okay, so we should definitely look into your options. That would qualify you for mandatory forbearance or economic hardship deferment. What's nice in the deferment, if you can qualify for economic hardship deferment, it does not do what's called compounding interest. That only happens in forbearance. Or because of your situation, if you haven't been able to work, more than likely there's going to be some really, really good income-driven repayment options. If you're not in default, you potentially could qualify for $0 a month for income-driven repayment plan, $0. So dependent on your situation, if you're married, household income, there's even ways, once again, guys, I'm not a tax professional, not a CPA, but there are times where it makes sense where you can file taxes married and separate. And if you do that, then they would only then take your income for qualifying for any of the income-driven repayment options. And if you're making $0, your husband's making $80,000, let's say, but you're making $0, you file married and separate, income that they're qualifying you on is $0, payments are $0. So that's a really good option. Sometimes you need to be strategic about it. Awesome, guys. That's it. That's it. I hit hour mark. I really hope you guys got a lot out of this. Feel free to go back. Now remember, anyone that wants help, tonight only. You book it tonight, $50 off if you enroll. There's no pressure to enroll. Go through the consultation, figure out your options. As you can tell, there's a lot of different options and there's a lot of different things that you have to think about for your future and situation now and figuring out best options. Also, reach out for our ebook, either by booking the consultation or going to our website, yourcreditlife.com. Contact us, check out our website. We got great information on there. Also, guys, check out Credit TV, CREDITV, so Credit TV. Phenomenal YouTube channel. Jeremy's done a great job with that. We're constantly putting videos on there. Jeremy, Rick, our team, Chaz, the Money Machine, Credit Money Machine, that's a great video. Jeremy did a great one on the cascading versus snowballing debt reduction plan. We're constantly putting videos on there to educate the masses, empower the consumers to do better with their financial well-being, their financial wellness. Thank you guys again. I'm Jared Havens, co-founder of Credilife. Hope you guys found this webinar very useful. I definitely plan on doing more. I love doing these. I love helping people. Very excited for Tyler's position in the company, the student loan division head. He's working with the team. We can help you guys. We want to help you guys. This is for any of our current clients in the credit program, the Credilife Credit Improvement Program, or anyone that's not a client that wants to be a client. We'd love to help you. Have a great night. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.